What's going on, guys? Johnny on the track here with another video. And today we're going to take a look and kind of dissect the Daytona 500 TV ratings that were released today, Wednesday, February 23rd. So basically, we're just going to go through, take a look at what the ratings actually were, what they kind of mean. And then I want to throw where I think we should go from here. So with that, I'll get right into it. So I came on this program last week on a Daytona 500 preview show. And I said that I think pretty confidently that the Daytona 500 ratings will be over 10 million. I think they could, I said, I think they could touch around 12 million. And unfortunately, I was wrong. I was dead wrong on that prediction. The ratings came through today, and this year's Daytona 500, now, albeit it was up against college basketball, the Olympics, the NBA All-Star game was later that night, but it actually wasn't directly, up against it. The ratings were 8.8 million people tuned in to the big race. So that's up from the past 2 years, which is good. Now, we have to remember 2021 had a significant rain out. It was rescheduled, and those ratings were awful. I mean, really the only way from there was up, unless we had another rain out, which fortunately the weather was great. And the year before was up a tad as well. 2019, we are down. There was 9.1 million viewers in 2019. You go back to 2013, 16.6 million. So that's about kind of what an average NFL game would get. And then even in 2015, we still did almost 13.5 million. And also really to put this in perspective, the Clash, which put up 4.8 million, for a preseason event, which I think was very well marketed. And we'll get to the kind of the Daytona 500 marketing in a little bit, but that drew in 4.8 million. So, that beat out like 90% of the races in 2021 in total viewership. And that's more than half of what we got for the Daytona 500. And quite frankly, that's unacceptable. These ratings should be much, much better. Real quick, I want to run through the pros and cons. So I guess we'll start with the pros. Overall, if you actually look at the share, kind of like the share of the TV market, the Daytona 500 was the most watched sporting event of the weekend, again, up against college basketball and the Olympics. NBA All-Star game, it didn't really directly compete, but it was, the NBA All-Star game was happening that same day. So most watched. When you look at the share, ratings were actually up 24% from 2019. That's just because, again, they didn't have to compete with the Olympics. The stands were great. There was a great fan attendance, sold out for a while. It looks like, people were standing pretty much every green flag lap, which was awesome to see. A good crowd at the beginning too for the Luke Combs concert, just, in the infield, touring and all that stuff, looking at the cars, taking pictures, great crowd. And the overall product in terms of the race, we'll talk about the broadcast, but in terms of the race, great finish. There was some, I guess you could say bugs, whatever, with the next gen car being all, the tires falling off the cars and whatnot. But I think the actual product that we put out was really good. It was a great finish. Bubba Wallace right there to take down Austin Cindric, a rookie winning the Daytona 500. That was all great. I mean, that was really all great. You had one of the favorites going in, Ryan Blaney, right there for a chance to win it. So I am not at all gonna bash the actual product that the drivers put forth for us, because it was a great race. The cons, first of all, I think you should be able to crack 10 million with the momentum that we had from the Clash, as well as the debut of a brand new next gen car in the biggest race of the year. You should be able to crack 10 million. I mean, to me, that's unacceptable that you can't break 10 million viewers. I believe this factors in people who streamed it on the Fox app as well. So it's not just TV ratings. I think the streaming numbers are also playing in here too. Obviously, I'm sure people, legally streamed it, what have you. But in terms of, I think the Fox broadcast, it's 8.8. That is our number. In the fact that you couldn't break 10 million, that's not good, quite frankly. This was the biggest event of the year, so now the ratings will only go down. You expect Daytona, the other Daytona race, and both Talladegas to bring in good viewership. I expect Bristol Dirt to have good viewership. I think the St. Louis race at Worldwide Technology, I think that'll have good viewership, as well as the championship race, which always puts up a pretty good number. Will any of those break the Clash? 4.8? I don't know. I mean, I don't know at this point. 8.8 for the biggest race of the year. The I guess Super Bowl of NASCAR, if you will. I know people don't like that phrase, but that's essentially what this is. And you couldn't break 10 million. I mean, that's not good. So I don't know. I mean, I don't know how these ratings will continue to go over the course of the year. But and then finally, real quick, I'll add the broadcast was terrible. I'll be honest. Mike Joy, Clint Boyer, Tony Stewart, they were great. No complaints there. But the fact that you're going green flag commercials, that's ridiculous. That it should always be side by side. And if you're going to have commercials full time, do it at a caution, do it at a stage break, do it before, do it after, do it. You cannot have full screen green flag commercials. It ruins the product. It turns a lot of people off to a Fox broadcast, which, I mean, that's a heavy statement for me to say, but it's true. You cannot be doing that. It's unacceptable for us to be watching the biggest race of the year, and in the middle of, just think of it like this. Imagine in the Super Bowl this year, it's 3rd down and 3, and we're watching commercials. I mean, that's ridiculous. That's unheard of. That would never, ever happen. So to me, they have to get away with that, because that's not flying with the audience. And quite frankly, it shouldn't, because you can find other ways. The side by side is great. Keep that up. You got your yellow flags, you got stage breaks, like put those, that's where the commercial should be. So that's something Fox and NASCAR need to address. And I hope they can, figure out a way to address that. The last thing I want to go into, like I said before, is just kind of where do we go from here? How can we get 12 million? Oh, at least start over 10, 12 million, get back to 15 million. And I know it's a different time, with streaming platforms and all of that, but the NFL set the standard this year, ladies and gentlemen. The ratings they put up were astronomical, and their ratings are going up in a world where TV and cable is going down and streaming platforms are going up. Their TV ratings are going up. I mean, that's just crazy to think of, but clearly it can be done. So I have a couple thoughts here, and I know I'm sure the classic, if you will, NASCAR fan kind of won't agree with some of this stuff, and I get it. But at some point, you have to look at yourself as a product in the mirror and say, we need more. We need to bring in more viewership. And honestly, I think the main thing is the Daytona 500 is an event. Okay, sure, it's a race. It's the biggest race of the year, but this is an event. The Clash was very well thought out. The Clash was an event. Okay, sure, it was a race, and it was a preseason kind of exhibition race, but it was an event, a halftime show, music, right, during the cautions. That stuff adds up. That stuff helps. I mean, the just under 5 million for the Clash, that's huge. That helps. And I think you need to spice it up. Maybe it's a stage break performer. Maybe it's more promotional stuff leading up to the race. I think better shots showcasing the fans at the race. because again, this is an event. It's sure it's a race, but the Daytona 500 is an event. Auto Club this week, that's more of a race, right? I mean, Las Vegas race, that's a race. But the Daytona 500 is just a massive event, and you need to make it like it is. So, is a performance during the stage break something a NASCAR fan wants to hear? No, but I think it would help. I think more people would watch. I think it would be even more entertaining. I think another thing is too, and Jeff Gordon stated it a couple weeks ago, you need to get your drivers out there, plain and simple. I mean, Chase Elliott, Ryan Blaney, Kevin Harvick. I mean, these guys, they need to be out there. Bubba Wallace, you need to put them on late night shows, morning shows. And Jeff Gordon said, I mean, look, he was the gold standard of how to do this and kind of make it more mainstream. So is it the job of the driver to do it? Is it the job of the team? I don't know. I think honestly, it should go on NASCAR to get their drivers out there. Book these things for a Chase Elliott, for a Ryan Blaney, for all these people, right? Book it. People need to see who these guys are, what they're like, their personalities. Why are you going to watch a sport that you know nothing about anybody you're watching? I mean, you're really not going to. So that's another thing for me. I also think the scheduling was I wouldn't say poor, but the same weekend as the NBA All-Star Weekend, you can't really do much about the Olympics, but you could have pushed it back a week. That's still a week before, I believe, conference tournaments for college basketball starts, as well as March Madness is a couple weeks out. So I think that would have been maybe better scheduling, however you wanted to do that. I don't know, maybe that would help in the future. But yeah, I mean, honestly, there needs to be work done. I think the promotional stuff leading up to the Clash was great. It wasn't on par for the Daytona 500. Why? I'm not really sure. I think, again, like the Clash was promoted as an event, and you need to do that same promotional stuff for the Daytona 500. It's the biggest race of the year, but it's the biggest event for your sport of the year. And there's so much you can be doing to, make it more mainstream. Find these drivers, get them out there, show the normal sports fan, why should I watch the Daytona 500 when I could be watching maybe the Olympics, which is only on once every 4 years. Maybe I'm going to keep watching the NBA All-Star game, whose product, quite frankly, is nowhere as good as the product we put out there. So I think there's a lot of work that needs to be done internally by both Fox, because it seems like Fox is going to be around to stay, hopefully, broadcasting, this Daytona 500, and NASCAR as well. So again, it just comes down to, what do you want this to be? If you want this to be a race, you're happy with 8.8 million. If you want this to be like a Super Bowl, like a ceremony, a large event, then you're not happy with these numbers, and you shouldn't be. So I know I'm sure with some of the things I've said, I probably upset some NASCAR fans, but I think these things need to be said if you want our sport back where it was, and back getting numbers like 2013, 16.6 million, 2015, 13.3 million. And because 8.8 million to me, that's not it, quite frankly. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know your thoughts, put them in the comments. And how do you, where do we go from here, in your opinion? Put that in, make sure you give us a like and subscribe for more content. Thanks for watching.